97. I have a job for you, so stupendous, complex, and difficult that you might protest. Why should I attempt the impossible? My answer: saving humanity and your family is possible if we all work together. But would not allowing our destruction first invite years to decades of miserable suffering while we die? Indeed, being 1,000 times tougher to endure than meeting every crisis head on? Look at your own history. 1 year you permitted a bad health habit to make you feel crappy and sleep poorly. The next year, you got on a good diet and exercised for a far happier, more comfortable life. 1 year, you gave in to a few negative, selfish ideas that hampered one or more of your human relationships that an optimistic, sharing approach would have enriched instead. Again, you learned from your mistakes to design and proceed with your best fixes to protect and help all. You stopped hurting and started helping every very important person. Like a drug addict who sobered up, ended self-destruction, and immediately and permanently actively loved self and all others too, you have kept learning all your life that giving in to base appetites brings disaster. But practicing disciplined, strategic, loving care of yourself and the human world around you most often averts premature suffering and dying to welcome wonderful life and love that you sure enough keep designing, achieving, and enjoying. Nothing is impossible except living to 150 years old, until new medical science achieves that. Today's record is 122. In this book's first and 8 speeches, I tell the story of how people fell into war and built war dictatorship institutions. Certain laws that you must win fast can save us. In my 8th speech, I report historian Arnold Toynbee's His Story, truly the serial nightmare of single kingpins capturing empires and then hurting, enslaving, and killing the world over. Even more than the first 14, the 15th and 16th American and Russian empires attack or threaten all humanity with weapons and armies of mass destruction and ensure the same world victims counterattack to finish the bullies that destroyed those 14 monsters. Our unique, fatal 21st century differences are the impending nuclear and global warming drought killing of potentially every one of 8 billion people. Is not all of his stories single dictators, absolute power exploding to subjugate, attack, and finally kill everyone? For all but the last few hundred of humanity's 10,000-year war explosion, all of us served monarchs, the biggest dedicated to domestic military subjugation and all possible foreign conquests. Then, widespread attempts to offer democratic, peaceful self-government often did not succeed because weapons sellers kept persuading and increasingly bribing leaders in charge of a fat tax percentage of everyone's not-so-private income to buy weapons enough to equip armies for foreign conquest and domestic dictatorship, to equally inflict ruination of their own country's rights and freedoms too. Presidents of pretend democracies, commander-in-chief king equivalents, direct incessant wars, bad enough slaughter of armies clashing in the countryside, but 100 times worse when their winning forces bomb, burn, and murder across nations of helpless men, women, and children. Ever since 1915, massive industrial expansion of weapons manufacture, booming up to airplane and rocket continental delivery of TNT, pending nuclear explosives, and weaponeers' financial and political capture of Treasury-controlling politicians, completed in a single century the last 300 million murders of 10 millennia's billion killed. All power to ruin and end humanity exercised by a single industry, Murder Incorporated, then handed over to single president commanders who always blithely ignore constitutional law that presidents may not start and fight wars easily capable of destroying many nations, including their own, without war declaration votes from a majority of people's elected legislator representatives. Nuclear arsenals have been ordered by 186 nations' disarmament treaty to be destroyed because no citizen or representative has any say-so when 14 warhead missiles 9 minutes from superpower cities may be launched, especially from 50 secret schemes to fire them in seconds, by surprise, first. The same one man can kill us all system dominates today's worst 3 wars in Ukraine, Israel, and Sudan. The CEO of the American builder of 2,000-pound bombs directs money into the campaign funds of hundreds of senators and congressmen and sends lobbyists directly to their offices to discuss the 1,000 times greater funds he once appropriated directly to his company for the exact weapons designed to smash to rubble entire city blocks of civilian apartment buildings. Feel free to vote no, and we'll feel free to buy your next opponent's ads accusing you of abandoning American national security. For your only rich, powerful public careers, buy a myriad bombs from your private bosses. The big quid pro quo. The same goes with your vote to sell or give thousands of these bombs to Israel, because our maximum profits years ahead depends on Israel never ending their bombing of endless targets, mostly civilian, in Gaza, Lebanon, or elsewhere. We can finally only maximize our profits with endless more slaughter that companies like ours have indeed made certain every one of the last 110 years. Total peace, however unlikely with 10,000 bombs held in abeyance in warehouses, would end our reorders and bankrupt us. So kill, baby, kill! Weapons company CEO world dictatorship is moderately shared with warrior-in-chiefs Trump and Putin. Any American president, Democrat or Republican, gets huge weapons company dough. This executive then buys thousands of ads telling the American people that we must keep literally hundreds of billions worth of weapons flowing to Israel to fend off terrorist assaults on our ally. Never mind that 75 years of military apartheid over hated Arabs attempting any life nearby caused this endless revolt against endless subjugation. The ads totally hide another shocking truth. Bigotry, hate, and weapons sales profits add up to close to 100% of all wars' causation. Plus the purchased world propaganda claiming righteous, divine justice requiring war. The 1,000% big lie behind millions of hunks of shrapnel ripping arms and legs off of millions of 1 to 18-year-old children. Watch President Netanyahu bomb Gaza, Lebanon, and soon the West Bank until he is voted out. His successors will obey the same war dealers. Russia and the United States pour weapons into Ukraine. American defensive help after Putin's unjustified foreign invasion is meant to protect the victims of lethal bullying. However, the frontline meat grinder slaughter of hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian and Russian young men is the result. I need not repeat my full warnings of Ukraine's deep Russia invasion and civilian bombing, exploding chain reaction, total nuclear arsenals, full human extinction, that your apathy will make certain, or your full intervention against, has an excellent chance of preventing. Huge numbers of nations and their world weapons industries may kill or starve millions more in Sudan. Government and rebels are locked in a bloody stalemate that astronomically equipped combatants might not break for decades. I focused on rapid UN reform during my last speech because my 100-speech exploration of brand new world law is better suited to meet 30-year crises. Humanity, via rocketing drought and rocketing bombs, heads for total hell in about 3 years. I suggest that many of us direct lawsuits through the UN International Court of Justice. Your legal action could be aided by most governments on earth. Today, already extremely close to full advocacy of Mideast ceasefire. The end of American and Ukrainian invasion of Russia to defuse the world nuclear war trigger, and international laws with actual teeth against world weapons war fueling. Single governments are permitted to sue through not only the UN International Court of Justice, but also the Europe-based International Criminal Court for world action against war. Our first priority, very difficult, must be exponential increase in any and all peace law, actual enforcement power. People with thousands of times more communications expertise than I could directly interest high officials in at least 150 nations to consider UN court intervention to pursue both demilitarized peace and emergency world projects to secure new water rescue as regular rain fast dwindles to kill farms and forests and empty lakes. My state of Texas just registered a full season 2.5 degrees hotter than any since our 1930s Dust Bowl. Weather experts say that such rocketing hotter in a single year has never happened. My comment, stratosphere CO2 is now exploding to the point of no return, no regular rain return. We must demand in world courts, world projects to replace that missing rain with sky, cloud rivers, and coastal floods. Humanity's only rescues that will start yesterday or will die tomorrow. Those same 150 nations would vote and could lobby today for the total removal of the 1 to 5 top dog Security Council veto power. Dear God and humanity, I need help. I'm 5'10", adrift in a 6-mile deep ocean. The wind is 180, the waves 80 feet, and I'm dog paddling in a jogging suit. While a few friends would want my bloated body found, not lost forever, The real question is, will you expose enough people to my YouTube speeches or your 1,000 times more expert ones to get us all started saving the world and your family? We have never united nations. Do it now. We have never united people against our own extinction. Do it now. Replace, multiply, and vastly improve on the drowning man quick. This almost wraps up my story, his story of single men seizing absolute corrupt power to soon destroy virtually all life on earth. Finally, fully told, so you and I can design precisely the opposite of those scorched earth, mighty weapon, evil war, and final drought powers. Our new laws and actions of disarmament, love education, and new water rescues that can and must kindly murder death itself. At least all cruel, sick, premature, unnecessary, miserable, evil types of demise. From single raging boys wrecking all humanity to all humanity retiring the punks and all their powers. From now on, you con men sell used cars, not weapons, wars, and hate. Are you too young to remember the political poster warning against the criminal President Nixon, showing the swarthy, glowering Tricky Dicky with the caption, "Would you buy a used car from this man?" Getting the hell out of your life is my goal, but you need today's bombs and bigotry updates. After 10 years of proving their sterling military service, 100% meeting every standard and requirement, just like gays, Donald Trump has ordered his female-abusing defense secretary to throw every stinking transgender out of the entire American armed forces, who obliged him by putting his noble philosophy and morality into a policy statement. And I quote, "Expressing a false gender identity is not consistent with the military requirement of humility." Translation: stinking liars, arrogantly self-possessive, do not have the sterling character required to blow men, women, children, and babies to bloody shreds. Please tell Trump that transgenders change sex to prevent their suicide. God designed their unfortunately endangered brains with flexible talents of self-rescue and self-discovery to express their true gender identity with love, happiness, and the full service of their choice and ability. The only evil liars are inflicted and magnified by bigot warrior President Donald Trump. You sorry excuses for human beings break dozens of orders in our American Constitution to make 100% of our public policies grant citizens equal rights, opportunities, and expression of their human worth and dignity, easily defined by everyone capable of love and respect, but incapable of your hate, contempt, intolerance, and abuse. Who is going to overturn all of the hundreds of foul and, yes, false laws against transgenders? Certainly not the next 4 years of Donald Trump's war party. Only you can save American souls, justice, and lives. Sue! China is frantically multiplying its thermonuclear missile arsenal, although it could slash its total from 1,000 to 100 and still second strike 5 attacking nations' 20 biggest cities or army bases. totally preventing anyone's therefore self-destroying first nuclear strike. China, Russia, and the United States, perhaps goaded by North Korea's nuclear test explosions, are building new facilities to begin exploding nuclear test bombs again. No actual treaty forbidding such foolery. The superpowers all plan ahead many decades more doomsday competition. Never mind all probability of humanity extinction far faster. The Union of Concerned Scientists, regarding the developments I just reported, lowered our 90 seconds until midnight on the doomsday clock to 89 seconds. T-minus 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! Are we clear that danger to the world from a few dozen underground detonations is not the issue? Ending the world very soon, murdering your family is. No one else will lift a finger to stop these corrupt, bestial clowns. Only you. To prevent your shellacking, better get cracking.